Hey, what's going on guys? It's me, Aiden, from Cartoon Apocalypse, and today we got a new episode. Now it's actually Animaestro, and I'll explain that here in a minute, but we got a new episode today of Miraculous Ladybug, and I'm here to make a video about it as always, so that's super awesome. Now if you're new to the channel, I make an analysis on every single Miraculous Ladybug episode that comes out, so if you enjoy this type of content, you can leave a like and subscribe. But before we get into the analysis of this episode, you guys may be a little bit confused because, as you guys probably know, I made videos, a week or two ago about saying, hey, Oblivio is going to be coming, today. But it was actually changed last minute because, or at least as far as I'm aware, last minute, because I just found out today, and I think as far as everybody else was concerned, they found out today. So they changed it to airing Animaestro today and airing Oblivio next Monday. So all they did was swap places. Now it gives us more time to mentally brace ourselves for Oblivio because it's going to get intense, I think. TVC did make an awesome video, so I'll leave that link down in the description below. But with that out of the way, as far as that little news segment thing, just kind of clarifying everything, let's go ahead and hop into the analysis of this episode. So this episode just itself it didn't have pretty much any plot related stuff really. It was more of just a fun episode, like most of the episodes are, but this one I especially enjoyed because it was, okay, first of all, we see Thomas Ostruck himself, which if you guys don't know, he's the creator of the show, but in this episode he's the director of a Ladybug and Cat Noir film that's animated, and just pretty much the general gist of the episode is everybody's criticizing him and nobody knows who he is and all that jazz, just how he gets akumatized, and pretty much his powers are he can do anything, he can transform into anything. He has unlimited power essentially because he gets to create these animation things and then use that against them. The only problem is if he's not being watched, then he can't move, so that's how they defeat him in the end, and that's pretty much it. Now there are a couple specific things as far as the shipping aspects go that I'll talk about, but I do want to mention there are a lot of references in this episode, and I'd be lying if I say I knew all of them. I did get a couple, even the Sailor Moon one I got, which was kind of confusing because I haven't ever seen Sailor Moon. I think it was because I know Star, and that's where I got it from. But there were also some other ones like Dragon Ball Z and a couple other things that I wouldn't really be able to tell you. But overall, this episode was really fun. Now, before we even dive even deeper, for those of you who don't know, they actually used some footage from one of the early concepts of this show. Before it was decided to be turned into a 3D animated show, it was actually drawn up to be like an anime. Now that changed for multiple reasons, but there was this leaked PV or intro or something as far as just the animated version, and let me just tell you, it was really cool. But the people who re-uploaded it because it was a mistake, somebody unchecked, it went from unlisted to private or something like that, so it was released, but the people who, screen recorded it or downloaded it, they didn't get it in a high quality, so everywhere you look for it, it's just low quality. But I'm hoping that maybe the crew who works on Ladybug, they're like, alright, let's just release it because, it's already out there. Tons and tons of people have already seen it. There's no use in still keeping it oh, it never happened. They used some of the footage and they've made reference to it multiple times in the show. So please, I'm asking you, if anybody on the Ladybug crew can, hit us up with the HD version, that would be awesome because that just in general, that really was cool, and I think man, if they made this in addition to what we have now, it could be really cool, because I was scrolling through the comments and people were like, man, this would have been such a great anime, and I totally agree. They should totally do a spin-off or something like that. I don't know, that's just me rambling, but yeah, I just hope that they end up releasing the HD version of that because that would be really sick. But now let's go ahead and talk about the actual episode, and as far as the shipping stuff, I already kind of went through the basic gist of it. Let's go ahead and talk about the shipping aspects. So I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but there was actually an image that was, it was confirmed a lot later to be Animaestro, but at first nobody really knew what it was. And it was really big because everyone was like, oh my gosh, is this when Marinette and Adrian get together? But we learned from this episode that that's not true. But it was cool, I guess, to get our hopes up getting us excited for this episode. It wasn't as, shipping based as we originally thought it was, but it still did have a little bit of stuff that, honestly, I was kind of like, no, Marinette, don't do that, because, Marinette pretty much indirectly caused another coetization, so, well, kind of, but it's enough for me to add it to the list. So basically, Marinette and Chloe teamed up, which is something that I never thought that I would hear myself saying unless it was in the context of Queen Bee and Ladybug, because Marinette and Chloe absolutely despise each other, and it was so funny to see that they were teaming up. So of course, knowing Chloe, she's not gonna care like what happens to the other person, just it's all about Chloe, and getting her way. And so Marinette ends up joining Chloe because Chloe makes Marinette think that Adrien is going to get with Kagami, which we know isn't true, but it was enough to get Marinette to team up with Chloe and commit these like little mischievous crimes. And I was like, no, Marinette, because what if Adrien saw Marinette do these things? And that would just be bad, because then we kind of have a repeat of the Origins episode, where it was like Adrien looked like he was doing the bad things, and I mean, he wasn't, he was just trying to get the gum off the seat, but this time it's actually Marinette with gum, and I was getting a little bit scared there. Luckily, nobody really knew, but yeah, geez, it ended up getting Adrien and Kagami closer together, which we as fans, as long as we don't ship Adrien and Kagami, we are getting a little bit tense there while watching the episode. We were like, uh-oh, what's gonna happen? Now, obviously, one good way to know that nothing's really going to progress as far as the shipping aspect goes is that these episodes can really be played out of order, and until they start having continuity, nothing's gonna change as far as plot stuff, as far as like little things that doesn't really matter as we're watching each different episode. So that's one way to tell that, hey, there's not really going to be anything too big that will affect the next episode, because again, there's no continuity whatsoever in the show. Pretty much, I mean, we're getting there, but for now, there's not any. So that's just one tip that you can think about whenever you get scared that something bad's gonna happen. And that works until they actually start applying some continuity rules. Now, one thing we learned from this episode is that Marinette bakes a macaroon specifically for Adrien every Sunday, and that macaroon is the flavor that Adrien likes, and just all these things. Just another thing that we can add on to the list of things that Marinette does for Adrien, and it's just like, oh, it's kind of cool. All in all, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was really funny how Thomas S. Stark was like, hey, yeah, I need my own episode. I feel like that's something that every single like creator of a show or a movie or something does. I think that every single one should have a cameo of some kind, and I think that this cameo was done perfectly because it was overall just an enjoyable episode. They threw in some shipping there, and just I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna say it again. I want that, animated PV HD, please. What if I say like please with a cherry on top? Because I'd like that would be super cool. So many people would be happy just because we actually have an HD version. I mean, there's not really any reason not to, right? I don't know. Like, tell me if I'm wrong on that, but just bringing it up again. Oh yeah, one more thing that I wanted to mention. Hawkmoth, in the event to continue to let Animaestro, try to defeat Ladybug and Cat Noir, he actually went out and just, he went out by himself. I mean, obviously he detransformed, but Gabriel Agreste going out, that's a really big indicator. I mean, knowing the show's properties, even if somebody saw him, they would just be like, oh, it's Tim, the guy who's never out, just, out and about like a normal day, because, everybody in the show doesn't seem to know who Marinette and Adrien are, and, we're just gonna not talk about it, but it is important to show that Gabriel tried. Gabriel is getting desperate. I mean, I know I say that in every episode, but he was pretty desperate this time. He really wanted to continue to let Thomas working, and he was pretty disappointed, but then he was like, ha ha ha, well, you see, you are successful, but then I end up taking over, so ha ha, boo on you. I don't know. That's just something that I thought that I'd mention. I'll leave the link to that animated PV down in the description in case you're interested, because it really is cool. I really like it, and I'd love to see it again. Just putting it out there for the third time, because third time's a charm, right? But yeah, that's really it for this episode. I know I ended up talking about like a lot of stuff as far as the backstory and things like that. So the episode itself didn't have like really too much to talk about, other than it was just like a fun little cameo episode where they had a lot of references and just, you know, funny things. I guess one more thing that I should mention is we see Kagami's mother again. They seem to be pushing that, trying to get us like to know her character a little bit more, just simply because she will become a villain in the future. But anyway, guys, I think that's really going to be it for me in this video. If you did enjoy, you can leave a like and subscribe for more content similar to this. Did I miss anything like really mind-breakingly big? Let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know all the references down in the comments, because I certainly don't know them all. If you want like an all references in Animaestro video, and you guys tell me all of the references, then maybe I could make that happen. But at this point in time, I don't know all the references, so that's kind of where we're at right now with that. So yeah, Oblivio comes out Monday, March 18th, so in a little bit less than a week. So stay hyped for that. I'll be making an analysis on that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me, and I'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
It's an animated movie.